Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Qi from Kaplan. Audit risk is a topic that is tested in almost every audit and assurance exam. However, many students struggle to understand and master this topic well. Today, I'll be sharing with you some suggested answering techniques on the topic of audit risk so that you're able to give a solid answer in your exam and secure full marks as well. Now firstly, let's do a recap on audit risk. Audit risk is the likelihood that when there are material misstatements on the financial statements, the auditor still goes ahead and express a true and fair view, which should be the last thing to happen, isn't it? Now, audit risk is actually a function of risk of material misstatements and detection risk. Risk of material misstatements, commonly known as RMM, occurs before the start of the audit, whereas detection risk is the likelihood that the auditor fails to detect the material misstatements. Now, therefore, for every issue that you have identified in the case study, you need to first decide whether the risk comes from RMM or detection risk. Now, when you have decided that this particular issue arises due to risk of material misstatements, which happens before the start of the audit, now always remember, you have to express your answer in the form of over or understatement of an account balance or classes of transaction. Now that is very important. Now, an RMM can also be due to an inadequate disclosure in the notes, or it could be an incorrect basis of preparation. Detection risk arises due to an auditor's issue. So therefore, when you have identified that the auditor has failed or may fail to detect the material misstatement, you got to explain clearly why the auditor may fail to detect the material misstatement. It could arise due to sampling risk. We have selected insufficient samples to represent the entire population. It could also be due to non-sampling risk, such as we are auditing a new client, we do not have enough experience, we do not have enough knowledge of this client. Now, these are some examples of good answers which I would like to share with you, and you can use them for your exam preparation. Say, for instance, in the case study, you have identified that one customer or some customers are struggling to pay their debts. Now, what is a good audit risk answer? Now, you should state it up front that receivables may be overstated if bad debts are not written off. Now, many students complain that they do not fare well for audit and assurance paper because instead of providing an audit risk, they have provided a business risk instead. Now, business risk arises because the business organization fails to meet their objective, which is mainly profit objectives, isn't it? So therefore, when you have answered an audit risk in a way that bad debts will arise, reducing the profits of the company, that is essentially a business risk. Now, what happens when you have a client in a case study that is operating in a fast-paced industry? So the correct audit risk answer should be, if the inventory becomes outdated or obsolete, the market price, in other words, the NRV, becomes lower than the cost. So therefore, what the market wants to see in your answer is that inventory may be overstated. So therefore, you should not indicate a business risk such that saying inventory may have to be written off, reducing the profits of the business. Now, another area of audit risk would be such that the revenue or the profits of this particular client has been falling due to economic recession. So in this case, it is not about over or understatement of an account balance or classes of transaction, but rather it is talking about going concern issues. Now, when the sales or the profits have been falling due to economic recession or economic reasons, it could indicate that this particular company may not be able to trade for the foreseeable future. So as a result, going concern disclosures will be required in your financial statements. Therefore, the audit risk should be inadequate disclosure may arise. Students should not be mentioning things like, falling revenue will result in reduced profits, as a result, possible going concern issues. Now, I've come to the end of my revision segment on audit risk. I hope it has been beneficial for you, and all the best to your upcoming exams. Thank you.